I moved into a new apartment about a month ago, and I've been seeing some strange things happening from day one. So let's start with the first day. This was after the movers had left, and I had begun to organize the place, starting with the kitchen. For a second there, my back was against the dining area while wiping clean of the kitchen cabinets. When I turned around to go wash the rag, I swear to God, I saw a man walking through the dining area and into the hallway leading to the bedroom. That startled me real bad, but I quickly chased after him while I shouted, "Hey, what the heck are you doing in my apartment?" I walked through the hallway, then opened the door to the bedroom, fully expecting the crazy man to be there, but no one was there. On the day that it happened, I thought the apartment must be haunted. What convinced me otherwise is the fact that the man I saw could never see me. The next few times that I saw him, I tried to scream at him, but he didn't react. In another instance, I was right next to him and even tried to grab him, but nothing. He just passes through like it's air, and he can't see anything that I do or say to him. I managed to record 3 instances and showed it to my brother. This is what he had to say about it. "Bro, you need a hobby or a girlfriend. Is this what you do in your free time?" I explained to him that I was serious, but he kept insisting that I was trying to fool him. He praised Adobe, the video editing tool, before leaving, by the way. After a couple of weeks, we're talking about last Saturday, my brother finally saw the man in real time. He bought pizza and brought it over to my place. While we were eating it, the man made a sudden appearance and my brother nearly choked himself from the shock. That was the first time that I was able to confirm that I wasn't just seeing things. My brother wanted to leave the apartment right away, even though I explained to him that the man was harmless. Now that I think about it, I think he probably soiled himself. I'm kidding about the poop, but he really was in a shock from that incident. Anyway, we went to a Starbucks to continue the conversation there. My brother told me to move out after the 6 months lease was up. He told me not to say a word to anyone else. He also said, "Bro, it doesn't matter what's true. What matters is what you can prove. If you take your videos around and show them to people, all they'll tell you is that you've done a great job at special effects and editing. That's if you're lucky. Dude, you don't think our government has special places for people who see things they shouldn't? People who disturb the finely crafted status quo tend to disappear and are never heard from again. Trust me, man, erase the videos, shut your mouth, run up the lease, and once you move out, forget that it ever happened." As moronic as my brother sounds most of the times, that's only when he's with me because we're brothers. In actuality, he works for the government, and is not a low-ranking official who works as a clerk at a town hall. He's pretty high up there. I'll just leave it at that. Initially, I thought about calling universities and perhaps science publications to see if they might be interested in studying the anomaly, but after talking to my brother, I've come to a conclusion that I don't want to end up in a special place reserved for the troublemakers. This will be the last time I talk about it, and I'll forget everything afterwards. I was walking with my girlfriend to the shopping mall the other day, and for a brief moment there, I saw an enormous explosion going off in the distance. The vision lasted for only a few seconds, but it looked so real that I nearly fell on my butt. I could have brushed it off as just a weird happening, but as it turned out, my girlfriend, along with everyone else on the street, has seen it as well. I knew that was the case as soon as it happened because I heard people screaming and some others had hit the floor as though they were preparing for an imminent impact. When the explosion disappeared, everyone stayed still, shocked and dumbfounded. One moment, we were certain that a nuke had gone off, but just moments later, everything had gone back to being normal. This was witnessed by at least 24 people. After a minute or two, some people left the premises quickly, but some stayed and they discussed of the happening with others who saw the same thing. Me and my girlfriend, we just laughed and went straight to the shopping mall. But I gotta say, The shock didn't really fade away until an hour or two later. It's been a week since the incident, but my girlfriend is still yet to come out of the shock fully. I don't blame her, it's not like I don't think about it either. I just try to suppress it to the best that I can, but seeing an explosion that should have wiped off the whole city and more, that stays with you no matter how much you try to forget it. I don't know what really happened on that day, but I too am still very scared. The year was 2002, and it had been 2 months since I graduated college. I had 2 job interviews lined up for the day, one at 11 a.m. and another at 3 p.m. I went to the first one and didn't really have high hopes for it. It was a small design firm, and the interview was conducted by the owner herself. I didn't think she liked me at all. On to the second interview I was, and so I ended up in this really fancy looking building in the city. It was a much bigger firm, and thus I was definitely not going to be interviewed by the CEO. That much was certain. I was put in a clean and elegant looking room when I arrived there. The whole process of going in, signing in, and talking to the correct people went smoothly. Everything in the company seemed to work like a clockwork, a far cry from the first job interview. Not longer than 3 minutes of wait, a gentleman came in and introduced himself as my interviewee. Let's pretend his name was John Smith. Well, John came in for a second, but then he had to leave right away when a woman came in and informed him that it was needed somewhere. He told me that he'd be back in a minute before leaving. A few minutes later, the door opens, but this time it's someone else. He says to me, "Okay, I apologize for that. Let's start again. I'm John Smith. Nice to meet you, Mr. Chambers." I wish I could go back and see my face in that exact moment, because I'm sure I had a real dumb look on my face and my mouth was probably half open. The reason being, he wasn't the initial John Smith. The first John Smith was a man of a small stature and blonde hair. The John Smith that walked in was at least 6'3", and he was a ginger. Face-wise, I couldn't really tell you for sure because initially I saw the first John for only a few seconds, but they looked very similar. I'll just leave it at that. Anyhow, the interview proceeds and the conversation felt very positive. I felt good about my chances of getting the job, but at the same token, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being pranked for whatever reason. Some 20 minutes later, my job interview ended, John and I shook hands, then I proceeded to leave the building. Fast forward a month, and I had begun working at the company. I mean the second interview company where John Smith works at. This is what I found out after a month of working there. The small stature John Smith with the blonde hair does not exist. At least not within the company. No one with that name and description worked there in recent years. As for the tall and ginger John Smith, well, I ended up working for him. He's not the CEO of the company, but he does hold the position of a director. He's worked at the company from the very beginning when the company was found. This John Smith is definitely a real person, and I worked with him Monday through Friday for 5 years. While I was working there, I half expected him to tease me one day about the little prank he pulled on me when I had my interview with him. But that interaction never came to fruition. I was never pranked, but I assure you, I did see the other John Smith, if only for a few seconds. I can also assure you that the 2 Johns I saw that day, they were definitely 2 different people. They might have similar faces, but you cannot mistake one from the other. The small and blonde John never showed up in the 5 years that I worked there. The whole thing is a big mystery to me till this day. What a way to start a career, huh?